Hey everybody, welcome back to Pretty Good at Talking. Today we're going to be talking about the Appalachian Trail. You're going to hear from the Tolbert family. The Tolberts are a family of 9. That's right, you heard that, 9. 7 children who walked the Appalachian Trail, and man, did they do it right. They're one of my favorite through hiking families of all time. I followed them throughout their trip this year, and they sure did it right. They became known as the Fellowship. But I think you're going to have a lot to take away from this. They did a great job of enjoying the trail and really taking it in. So right after I offer a little shameless self-promotion about my book, Pretty Good at Walking, story of my family's hike down the Pacific Crest Trail. If you'll endure that, we'll get right to Laura. And as always, check the show notes for all the ways to keep up with their journey.
We were born before the wind. Also younger than the sun.
Right there. Wraps round. Switch back up, and then goes out the top of that pass over there. Hey everybody, we have a really special treat today. We have Laura Tolbert of the Tolberts Take the Trail. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Tolbert's Take the Trail was our
Yes,
Instagram.
that's your Instagram. Super. And this is Laura, and she's going to tell us a whole lot of things. All of you aspiring Appalachian Trail through hikers, I think there's something here for you. All of you long distance hiking with a big family folks, there's a lot here for you. But the Tolberts, we were talking beforehand, and you can't learn quite as much from my AT hike because I didn't really pay attention. I was just doing it. I was not preparing well. I was not thinking well, but the Tolberts did a great job. For years and years, they have been preparing. And I don't remember the first time we spoke to each other, but it was a long time ago. It feels like before and when you were in the planning phase. But you guys did a great job. And I'm excited to talk to you today about your experience, both in preparation and on the trail.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Okay, so get us started. I don't know. How did this happen? How on earth did you come up with this idea? Who talked who into it? How did it, give me the origin story.
Well, my husband had gone on a backpacking trip in middle school, and they were supposed to hike to Clingman's Dome, and there was too much snow, and they had to turn back. But while he was out there, they saw a sign saying something about the Appalachian Trail, and he thought, that sounds interesting. I'd like to do that. And he went backpacking a few times over his kind of high school, college years. I grew up, I went camping some in high school and college, but I did not even know what backpacking was probably until we had been married for at least 10 years and didn't even have that word in my vocabulary. And then he mentioned something about, oh, I'd like to do this Appalachian Trail and you carry some of your gear. And I was really confused. Like, how do you get food? What do you mean you carry your gear? Just absolutely confused. But I thought it was a month-long trail and said, that sounds cool. Maybe you can do that someday when our kids are graduated. And that was kind of the extent of that conversation probably 10 years ago. And then when we were having our youngest, who's now just turned 8, when I was pregnant with him and we knew he was going to be the last one, we watched this really upbeat documentary, kind of musical documentary about the Appalachian Trail. And then we just said, let's all go. And my husband hadn't been backpacking since college. None of the rest of us had ever been, but we just decided, let's try it. And we think when our when our youngest is 7, he'll be ready to go. So in 2017, we just kind of decided in 2015 or 2025, we're going to go. And that's how it got decided. It was sort of just a random, we're watching this documentary and we decided.
And everybody who watched it was saying, I'm in. That sounds good.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it looked really fun
Yeah.
on this little musical documentary. And so everybody thought, that looks amazing. Weather was always good. And they're singing and things like that. So everybody thought it sounded fun. And our oldest at the time, she was about 10. So that's kind of a prime age to just be excited about something like that. So everybody was on board and nobody thought that looks terrible, which I think some of them later thought, actually, that does look terrible. At first, they all thought that sounded fun. And then the next year, my husband took a couple of the kids on their first backpacking trip. We got gear for 2, since we had 7 kids. It was kind of gradually picking up gear. So we got gear for 2 kids, and he took 2 of them, and it rained for like a day and a half straight, and they liked it.
That's great.
I guess maybe this could actually work.
Where did they go?
They went to the
Oh,
Smokies.
they did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was where we most often went for our backpacking trips. That
Mhm.
was down to the Smokies. It's a 1-day drive for us, so it's pretty accessible.
Yeah, that's great. So they were still in. This is when is this? What year is this?
That was actually, that might have been 2019. Natalie, do you remember? 2019 when you took your first? I think it was 2019. Yes. So our youngest was 2 at that point, and that's when they took their first trip, and then we gradually added in 1 or 2 kids
Mhm.
a year, and then I took my first backpacking trip in 2020, and then eventually got everybody a practice run.
How did the practice runs go? Did everyone come back and say, "Yeah, that was what we were hoping for," or was there reservation?
I think everybody came back excited. The only one, our youngest, when he went on his first trip, he had a great time and he really enjoyed it. But when he came back, he actually was less excited about the Appalachian Trail
Mhm.
than he had been before he had gone, even though he had so much fun. And I think my husband said, now he knows what it's going to take.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though he had fun, he could still tell this is a lot of a long day of hiking every day.
You were trying to do some miles at that point. It wasn't just going and
Right, we were
being outside.
right, we never did short. You thought that it seemed like it would be hard to do the Appalachian Trail before we went, after you went on your first backpacking trip.
It wasn't hard at all.
It was so easy as I look back.
The Appalachian Trail wasn't hard? Nope, nope, well, never mind
Okay,
then.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, easy enough. That's great.
But
So
yeah, we never did any trips where we just did like 3 or 5 mile days. We went in and we did probably 8 to 10 mile days typically on our backpacking trips, but probably every day or every trip, like if we went on a 3-day trip, it was 30 miles. If we went on a
Mhm.
4-day
Mhm.
trip, it was almost 40 miles.
Mhm.
So we did not do any short practice runs.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like I'm inspired to go a little bit backward then because it's an unusual thing to say we're a family, not a family that loves backpacking, but we're a family that wants to hike the Appalachian Trail. And
Yeah.
so the jump to that is very interesting. Is it we want a big adventure together? Is it we want more time together? I mean, I don't what is the driving force if it's not this is a thing that we do?
We knew we loved camping. We
Mhm.
went camping as a family with our kids, really starting probably from when our oldest was 3 or 4. We were going camping regularly, and we knew we liked that. And then I think just the idea of doing something big together and being able to have that window of time together. Our oldest is 18 now, and she's doing kind of a senior year, gap year, super senior, whatever you want to call it. She'll be going to college next year. So I think that idea of having a window of time with our whole family together was the big draw, and we knew we liked camping. So this is a way to camp
Mhm.
for a long time. But yeah, we had not tried backpacking much, but people went out, and since they did like it, then it seemed like,
Yeah.
okay,
A good confirmation. Yeah.
yes.
That's great. So you set your sights on the AT and said 20 for 25 and then begin moving toward that. Are you homeschooled? Okay.
Yes, and my husband and I were both homeschooled. He was homeschooled only high school, and I was homeschooled K through 12. So we were homeschooling our kids, and we're planning on homeschooling through high school since that was our experience too. So we were not really worried about the school piece, which is a nice thing to be able to not worry about because I know that would not be as easy for a lot of families,
Yeah.
but it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're in terms of guiding your planning for the Appalachian Trail as a family, was it complicated in terms of the logistics, or how did you go about that? Or is that mostly your husband said, "Hey, I got it all on a spreadsheet"?
He did do a lot of the planning, but it was sort of a mix of doing a lot of planning ahead and then doing a lot of planning in the moment. We did a lot of trying to be well prepared for how to backpack, have everybody be super comfortable with backpacking for a long weekend.
Mhm.
And that was kind of our prep, is just long weekends over and over,
Mm.
because that's what the Appalachian Trail is. It's just a long weekend over and over and over, trying it in different weather. But we did not, like, I know people do spreadsheet out, like, I'm going to do this many miles from Georgia
Mhm.
all the way to Maine. Everything's planned out. And we didn't feel like we could do that because we didn't know for sure if we would be able to meet those
Mhm.
markers
Mhm.
with the kids, and just not knowing how they would respond once we're going 10, 12 miles over and over again.
Mhm.
So we only planned specifics for about 4 days at a time.
Mhm.
So we did generally, my husband read a lot of books, I read books, watched other not as cheerful documentaries, and just tried to understand, like, the overall picture of the trail, but we didn't plan any details on where we're going to be, like how far we're gonna hike, where we're gonna stay, uh, any of that until we were doing, like, 4 or 5-day windows at a time on the trail.
And what was your start date?
March 20th,
Wow,
yeah,
that's a
which is a
great
great
time.
start date. That was actually the night of March 20th was our coldest night on the whole trail.
It looked very cold in the video.
It's very cold. It was down into I would say at least mid-20s, maybe low 20s, and we don't really have gear for that kind of weather, so that was just, unless we put on everything, yes,
That's
Jackson,
right.
which is what we did the first night, and
Yeah.
just nobody slept super well. Everybody was just on the edge of their sleeping bag survival temperatures.
Were there any on that first night, were there any "I wanna go homes"? Did you hear any coming from other tents?
I don't remember hearing that.
Wow,
Kids
that's
were shaking
great.
their
Yeah,
heads.
you totally talked them into it. That's great.
I mean, I think part of it, like, since we had decided for so long, it didn't feel like this is something people could opt out of,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
even that they had it in their head
yeah,
that
yeah.
I could say I wanna go home and maybe we would. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
just steady, "We're out here, we're doing
Yeah,
this all the
yeah,
way to the end."
yeah. That's great, and that's really neat. So, how was the trail? Was it crowded when you first started?
It was crowded. The first couple days were really crowded. I know our date was definitely like a in the bubble
Mhm.
date to start then. And I'd say the first probably week was pretty crowded. And then it was like hit or miss on whether we had crowds around us for most of the rest of the trail. Although Vermont and New Hampshire were pretty crowded,
Interesting.
which we were surprised by that.
Interesting, yeah. And New Hampshire would be bad crowded because there's less option in New Hampshire.
That's probably true. Also, we were crossing through, the White Mountains
Mhm.
over Labor Day weekend,
Oh, wow. Wow, that is
and
busy.
we stayed at one shelter, in the Whites, one of the, like, shelters as a caretaker, and so he was counting all the people. It was 103 people at the
Even
shelter,
more.
Wow,
which was unbelievable. I
that's
mean,
a lot.
and he was an amazing caretaker. He found spots for everybody and just took occasional smoke breaks, and
Oh, that's great.
and he's super chill.
How was
We're
your,
thankful.
yeah, how were you received early? Like, was it interesting to be around other hikers at the beginning?
It was, and everybody was super welcoming, and I think kind of excited about the kids,
Mhm.
being out there. We saw someone on that first weekend who saw us later, who said when he saw us, he thought, "There's no way they're gonna make it."
That's great.
Who was
That was Kyle.
That was great. Did you have the experience of seeing people over and over again throughout the
We did. We definitely had people. I'd say we had a group that we saw repeatedly off and on for the first half, and then we had a different group that we saw repeatedly off and on for the second half. Most people would pass us, but then if they got sick or had to go off the trail or something, then they would pass us again. And then eventually they would be gone, and then we had a new set of kind of trail buddies for the end.
how did you determine you said you didn't have a set agenda for your scheduling. How did you determine when you were done for the day?
We would set it at the beginning of that kind of 4 or 5 day stretch. We would look at where do we need to resupply again in about 4 days? Because we could not carry more than 4 days of food. And then, so where do we need to resupply? And then what are the spaces in between that to like relatively evenly break that up? And then which ones can support 4 tents?
Mhm.
And that was kind of what we were looking for.
And how well did you keep to that? Was it about like you expected?
Yes, we
Okay.
almost
That's it.
always
Usually
hit
for, like,
our miles.
7
We
days.
probably cut them short by a couple miles, maybe less than less than one hand worth of times. And then we went a little bit further, probably 5 to 10 times.
Mhm.
But we almost always did exactly what we planned.
Oh, that's great.
Partly
Yeah.
we didn't feel like we could take a chance going further with 4 tents. Jackson, I do not want you having that hot tea right over the computer, honey. Okay, that has to be at the table.
It's not hot anymore.
The cup still feels hot, and cold
not
water
hot.
will wreck the computer too.
I'll take some tea, Jackson. Can you pass some through the screen?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. Was it harder I assume with as many people as there were, it was harder for some than for others.
Yeah,
Was that the case?
it was. I mean, this one right here,
Mhm.
Cassie,
Mhm.
she was 12 when we started. She was 13. She turned 13 on the trail. This is definitely not how she would have wanted to spend a whole summer.
Mhm.
She had a great attitude and was super helpful, but it was harder for her, especially if she's super social. If we weren't around hikers for a stretch of time,
yeah.
that was definitely something that she missed. Jackson, if the trail was boring,
It wasn't.
he would hike really slow.
Just as a protest, like a silent protest of the
I
boring
think
trail. Jackson, if you hike faster, you get past the boring part faster.
he would just get distracted, like tearing leaves apart, and it would
Uh-huh.
go from probably 2 miles an hour to 1 mile an hour,
Oh, man, that's
which
excruciating.
is pretty slow.
Oh, that's great. Cassie, my son, for his screen names, ever since we started hiking, he would use "I hate hiking."
That's
Um,
another girl.
It was
so yeah, liked different aspects, and some people did like it less than
yeah,
others.
yeah, that's something. When did they when did they settle into and begin to seem like, or when did you begin to feel like this is a hiking family? This is like we can do this. We're on pace, or was that right away?
I mean, it really felt like once we got out of Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Um,
I think
I mean, before that, it felt like we were doing it. Like,
uh-huh.
I didn't have doubts that the group could do it, but there's just so many miles left, even when you're in Virginia.
not
It
anymore.
just when we got through Pennsylvania, and then we only had most of those little states left until Maine, it just felt like we're really rounding the corner,
Mhm. Mhm.
and we're hitting our stride, and pretty much nothing could stop us
Mhm.
except maybe the whites. And then we got through the whites, and then it definitely felt like nothing could stop us.
Was some of the Pennsylvania, was that just connected mostly to the task that was ahead, or did that have something to do with warnings about Pennsylvania and the rocks and all that kind of thing? Or was it just mostly
I think just having that chunk of miles, like getting to 2/3 or so, which is past Pennsylvania, I think, but kind of in that area, it just felt like we've gotten the big states are behind us, and so it felt like our morale and our excitement was only going to be going up. So that was a nice thought.
Tell me how then. I'm interested because we obviously did a let's stay out of town and resupply. Like our strategy was to ship boxes from home and stay on schedule, and we ended up ahead of schedule, but we knew where we were stopping every time. It sounds like yours was kind of taking a chunk at a time,
Yes.
which to me would indicate that your resupply strategy was we come into town, get settled, go shopping for that next section.
Yep.
Was that complicated? Was that difficult? Did you get a lot of participation out of the kids? How about that? I'm actually really interested in this. I think this could be helpful for people making a plan. That's a hard turn with that many people, with 7
Yes.
kids, with that much food to get together, laundry, rest, That's a tough turn.
It is, and sometimes that was really tough. We did do something for resupplying food that I think really helped. We did 3 food groups. So I was in a group with the 2 youngest kids, my husband was in one with our other 2 boys, and then the 3 teenage girls were all a group. And each group would send one person to the store who would get all their food.
Okay.
So each group, like we had 3 people who went to the store, and each of those people bought food for 3 people. And so it wasn't me trying to figure out resupply for 9 people or my husband trying to do that. It just we each had 3 people, and 3 people's not too bad to resupply for. So, like, I would go and I would pick out breakfast, lunch, and dinner for myself and the 2 little kids, and that was it. And our snacks too, obviously. And Cassie went also and picked out the food for her group. And so then you didn't have to, it was kind of already separated out, so we weren't trying to dole it out, as that didn't take as long. I felt like that did really simplify things for us to not be trying to organize from one big grocery setup to 9. It was just 3 little ones. And that felt easier. But laundry was a headache.
Yeah.
I mean, we really did look for places that had laundry on site, and that was the only way to make that easier, was to just have it be
Did you
on
do
site.
hotels or hostels?
We did a little bit of both. If we some places they just didn't have hostels, and some places they didn't have hotels. A hotel was usually a better financial
Mhm.
way for us, but also less convenient. So we had to kind of balance that, because the hostel will have laundry on site and a shuttle to a grocery store.
Yeah.
So we would do a hotel if we could get a hotel and laundry and resupply in kind of close proximity to where we were staying.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, that was complicated. I mean, my husband said those were the worst. Like, that was the worst part of his week.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
week was
Yeah. I
trying
could
to
never
figure
wait
out.
to get back on trail because I could rest on trail. Let me just walk
Yes.
all day, please. I don't want to have to be
Right,
thinking about
and not have to
this.
think about any of that. None of that
Did the
planning.
did the teenage girls have freedom when they walked into the grocery store? Like, could they come back with Snickers and Kit Kats and cheese puffs?
Yes,
Okay.
they could get whatever they wanted. And honestly, we all got Snickers and Kit Kats.
I love Snickers. They're a great trail food.
The worst. I mean, it's just funny because you're eating the worst possible diet probably that you've ever had in your entire life, and still, like, losing weight and getting healthier,
Did you have any
which
bad resupply, or I don't mean bad, I just mean, did you have any resupply locations where you got there and you thought, "Oh, no, this isn't gonna cut it," like, where you had to be scramble and be creative?
we didn't have any places that we expected to be good that were bad.
Wow.
We did have a stretch through the White Mountains where we realized that we're just kind of limping along for food, like trying to use the White Mountain huts and the gift shops
Mhm.
to try to manage our food. And because we're so many people, we're just like cleaning out a gift shop.
Mhm.
So that was probably our worst stretch of resupply, but we knew those were not grocery stores, and we were not gonna have good options there, but we were hungry.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Alright, that's great. I'm trying to think of anything else that would be helpful for somebody who's thinking about going. I mean, people do like to talk about gear, but it sounds like you were piling that up as you went, and there's so many resources for gear, it's almost impossible
Right.
to compete
And
with what's out there.
we did not we just kept everything that we had. Like,
Mhm.
my oldest son, who's 15 now, he was wearing his same pack that we got him when he was 9.
Oh, perfect.
I mean, we felt so bad for him on the trail because he's so strong.
Mhm.
I mean, you've had a 15-year-old
Mhm.
son that's now older. I mean, they're just so strong, and he could carry anything that we gave him. But his pack is this youth pack
Oh,
that's
yeah.
probably designed to hold 15 pounds
Yep,
max. He
yep,
had 35 pounds in it,
yep.
and it was just like cutting into his shoulders and just looked absolutely miserable. And it didn't seem to phase him.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
We just kept any gear that was still
Yeah,
usable,
yeah,
we kept using it.
yeah, I think that's great. The thing that I think I'm interested to move toward like you guys were called the Fellowship. Did you receive that name? Did you kind of pick that for yourselves? How did that come about?
Well, we love Lord of the Rings, and there are 9 people in the fellowship.
Uh-huh.
And then our oldest daughter tore her ACL before we left for the trail. So we were kind of joking that she had fallen like Gandalf and
Oh,
that she
there
was
you
going
go.
to And so then we're like, I guess we're just the fellowship
Yeah,
now.
that's great.
My 15-year-old son, he could do anything like Aragorn, and so we just were having fun with that, and then I guess we just sort of self-adopted that then
It's a
as a
great
name.
name. It's great. And I think like when I was watching the videos, I was thinking it was really fun because it would seem like somebody watching the video and see you guys talking about trail names in the second video or even the first video would seem like, wow, this seems early, but it's not. Like you're already out there for 3 or 4 days. You feel like you've been out there for a
Right.
year. Like time is just like we don't even exist in anywhere but here, so
Yeah.
but I think the reason I'm interested in part of the reason I'm interested in that is I think for me the intangibles of what this experience can be for a family are really really powerful, and I wondered about that, like in what way did it meet, exceed, challenge your expectations in terms of your experience on trail with your family and as a family, ways you grew, ways you I didn't want
Yeah.
to color it with anything. I just want you to tell me, what was it like? I mean, you got to be a family, you got to be together on a trail for a very long time. That's really
Yeah.
cool. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was really like, I think when we went out there, we were thinking this is going to be great for us parents to be able to have this time with our kids before they start leaving, and that was true, like, that was really cool. One thing that I didn't really think about as much is the gift of time for them with each other, and that was really, really cool to see just them spending that many months just with only each other in the best possible way, and just getting more closely bonded as siblings, and, I mean, we already homeschool, we already spend a lot of time together, but this amount of time and under those conditions is definitely next level togetherness. And that was really awesome to see just their bond growing with each other. And then something that my husband and I were talking about is things that helped us feel like we got ready for the trail, like just being continually faithful and doing things like, I mean, we've been married for 20 years, so continuing to be married for 20 years and continuing to go to church every single week and just kind of these like faithfulness in kind of mundane things
Mhm.
it does become a reward that's
Mhm.
really, really beautiful. And we felt like that prepared us for the like faithful mundaneness of the trail.
Mhm.
But we're hoping that doing that on the trail will kind of in reverse prepare our kids for other aspects of life where they will have to just keep showing up and keep going, even if every day is not amazing and some days are definitely a drag.
Mhm.
But there is a reward that comes with that kind of just steady faithfulness
Mm.
in the mundane.
Yeah, and there are a lot of one-to-one parallels that you can story backward from the trail toward light.
Mhm.
Also,
Yeah, we
some
talked
of
about
those
that a lot.
things, yeah, some of those things are just like they just sort of like ooze into you. And I wonder, do you see? It sounds like you see that within your kids in terms of their comfort level with each other or their exposure to each other. That seems increased
Yeah.
throughout the trail, and then now at home, do you see that continuing?
Yeah, I mean, they're I feel like it's hard to know how different it was from before because I can't really remember.
What was life like before the trail?
No idea, but I mean, they're all really happy to spend a lot of time together, and that has been when we've said, "You've gotta be home," people have not said, "I hate being home and I hate you siblings," so that
Yeah,
seems
yeah,
good.
yeah. Are there things now that you've hiked it, are there things that you wished you had known before? Do you
I I can't I can't think of anything. I mean, I wish people had not fear-mongered as much. I like about the whites probably in particular. We definitely got a lot of from like other hikers that are out there, like section hikers that have done sections of the whites and then they're out there and they say, "Oh, well, just wait till you get to this or that." And I don't know if that could we kind of knew already not to listen to that. So I don't know if that exactly is what answers your question there, but that was one thing that I would have
Mhm.
not minded just
Yeah,
deleting from the
it's
experience.
very interesting. In the conversation that I had with the Belgium family, there is a section that is a river crossing, long river crossing, and it is scary. And that section is technical, and and she called ahead, and a ranger or somebody said nobody under 10 should go, and she had a 4-year-old. And so it is an interesting balance because you're a parent and you're trying to think about the well-being of your kid, and an inappropriate response is to say, well, none of that applies to me, no big deal. It's a very delicate balance and not easy to know what to do.
Right.
Most of the time, they're right or they're wrong, and they were worrying ahead of time. And then sometimes
Yes.
they're right, and it's hard to be able to discern the difference, what to be worried about. And I can remember, we did that, and on our Pacific Crest Trail hike, it was, "Oh no, have you heard about the water crossing that's coming up?" Then it was, "Oh no, have you heard about the long water carry where
Yeah.
the spring is dried up?" Then it was, "Oh no, have you heard about this fire?" Then have you heard about that fire? And by the time we got to the Sierra Nevada and we stopped at Red's Meadows, they were saying, "Oh no, have you heard about the winter storm that's coming in?" And by that time we were acclimated to saying, "Come on, we've heard your fear mongering. And I wish we'd listened to that one." And you just don't know how it's so very difficult to make a decision, especially as a parent, because it really does attach to something inside you that's very both delighting in the risk that your kids are exposed to and a sense of responsibility toward your kid.
Right. Like you don't want to actually do something that is a high
That's
likelihood
right.
of them being seriously injured.
That's right. And you want to say, "You don't know my kid," and
Right.
well, you don't know my kids. Like, you mean it both ways.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we got lots of great advice on what was coming up, and I think that was super helpful. Like if people are describing this is what's ahead of you, there's a sheer rock face or a river crossing where you will have to wade through and it does get pretty fast moving or something that's like factual information, that is truly helpful. But the idea of this is
Mhm.
certain death for you, that does just either it scares you or it makes you roll your eyes. And
Mhm.
either way, neither of those responses are actually helping you
Right.
make a good
That's right.
decision.
So
So
so I can remember staying up all night long in a tent wondering about the next day. I'm not all night. I mean, I woke up every hour thinking about a thing.
right, and it
What
kept
would
coming to mind.
pretend if I am a person who's considering going and you're trying to help me think about how to think about the fear mongering, which is inevitable. Like, it is
Right.
coming.
Yes.
People will say, "You're never going to make it. Your kids can't do this." Like, they'll encounter that if they're a family trying to do this. Like, how do you, have you thought about an articulation of how to think about that?
I don't know exactly for sure. I think one aspect is when people see kids, they make projections based on their own experience with children. And most people have not experienced children out on a really long backpacking trip. I mean, that's just percentages wise, that's unlikely. So if they're thinking, I would be too afraid to take my niece or nephew who has not been out here doing this. I'd be too afraid to take them. That just isn't the same. So we got probably our best information from people who were making comments in like the Far Out app or something, who didn't know they were making those comments for children.
2 children. Yeah, yeah. Yes,
They're
you're able to
just
read
making
those almost you're able to read those as this is a message to a through hiker who's encountered all that you've encountered as a through hiker.
right.
Yeah.
And they're going to be assuming, I mean, just their natural bent is going to be assuming that whoever's reading it is
Mhm.
like them.
Mhm.
And so those were or reading articles. And then when we had other through hikers were actually less of fear mongers than
Mm.
people coming in for, just a weekend or a day. And that experience is super different
Mhm.
if you come out to climb a mountain on a weekend or if you've hiked 1,000 miles to get there. Like that's just you're in a much different physical place
Mhm.
than that. And that's not a judgment. It's just a statement of fact.
Right.
So hearing those comments in the app or in articles, if they were from through hikers
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
intention of giving counsel to another through hiker.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
the most helpful.
Yep.
And then we could be prepared and know what was actually out there.
Yeah, that's great. Tell me about your tell me about the shelters. What was your strategy for sleeping? Did you use the shelters? What was it
Um,
like?
We did a mix of shelters and tent camping. We almost always found places near shelters to camp.
Mhm.
We liked having a privy, and a lot of the shelters have a privy. And also, with the size of our group, shelters were the most reliable for having either space in the shelter or enough tent sites around them. Most of the stealth camping spots or the unmarked camp spots just wouldn't have enough spaces for us. And even if it says there's 4 tent sites, if there's one other person there, now there's not space for us.
When your four tents are all 2-man tents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had the 3 boys squeezed into one 2-man tent.
Right. Yeah. Well,
So the shelters were more reliable for us, just counting on being able to count on water, and then space was more likely. And then sometimes, we put some people in the shelter. If they didn't feel like setting up their tent and there was space, we could toss a few people into the shelter.
If you're going to be coughing a lot, why don't you move away from here?
Everybody is sick now. We didn't get any colds on the trail.
oh yeah, well, you're going that hard, you're drinking that mountain water, you're
Right.
outside all the time.
Breathing the fresh air, and now we're home for 3 weeks, and everybody has these terrible colds.
Yeah. Did you it sounds like you left at least the teenage girls to their own devices with the food. Did everybody kind of just have their own camp responsibilities and you left them to it? Or how did that work?
Well, each of those food groups that did the shopping also did their own cooking and
Mhm.
cleaning up. So everybody had their responsibilities there. And then for each tent, whoever was staying in it just had to set it up and take it down.
Mhm.
Filtering water was the most controversial chore
Yeah,
because
that's what I want. Give me the controversy. I knew there was some in there. You guys smiled the whole time. You're the fellowship. Boromir's just a joke name. Nobody turned on each other. Like, give me the dirt.
well, the water filtering, we had 3 water filters. They each can filter 2 liters of water. So that's 6 liters of water. But with our whole family and cooking, I mean, we'd need those to be filled probably 3 or 4 times a stop.
Uh-huh.
Everybody was always like, I already did it. I already
Oh, wow.
filtered a bag of water. I'm like, well, we need 10 filters of water. And everybody's going to do it once, and somebody has to do it twice.
That would make for such long stops. I would be pulling my hair out.
Yes.
Are you
We
talking
did
about stops during the middle of the day? Like even
not always. We usually didn't. I mean, we had more filtering at night with
Mhm.
cooking.
Mhm.
And then we did not usually cook breakfast. That was only occasionally. So then our water stops during the day would be quicker because it was just trying to get to the next water stop,
Right. So
basically.
your meetup and rest during the day was always around water.
Yes, almost always, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That would have been a cause for contention for us. I'm confident it would have been. Although what I will say is a thing I was hoping that, the place I was hoping to needle a little bit, of course, was the tearing down and setting up of tents in the cold. I can imagine that some of those groups had some hierarchical, conversations and distribution of labor.
We had more controversy probably about packing up the tents
Mhm.
for time. Some people would take a longer time doing their hair or whatever inside the tent. And other people would be like, I'm ready. I have to carry it. I want to
Uh-huh.
take it down now. So get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
We didn't really have that many weather issues with the tents because so much of our hike was not that cold.
Oh, great.
So it would be a little chilly to get up in the morning, but
Not too bad.
it wasn't that big of a deal most mornings.
Did you have any grumpy and impatient people in the morning wanting to get going? That was always me. I'm wondering if you had any that were like, "Can we get on already?"
Matthew says, "Dad."
Yeah, it sounds like a dad thing. That was me for sure.
Yes. I mean, yeah, he was ready to go, and not everybody was ready. And then definitely some people had the mindset of, if we're ready, we should just leave. And other people had the mindset, if I'm ready and not everybody's ready, I can just relax for a really long time. And because we weren't always hiking together, it was like if the little kids are ready, they should start hiking with somebody older, but like get them moving. Their legs are shorter. Let's get them going. So that was definitely,
What she
she said the little kids never wanted to leave with her. That's our second oldest. And she was almost always ready to go, but they didn't like to hike with her as much.
why?
Why not?
I was
Cassie
a
said
grump.
she's a grump.
I think probably Jackson didn't like it because I wouldn't carry his pack for him.
Uh-huh.
No, because you do it.
That's
That
being a
was-
good
that
big
was-
sister, I feel like.
Well, David would carry Jackson's pack for him a lot, and Natalie would not
Okay.
carry it. That was definitely a factor.
Yeah.
And Nora, our other younger one, she liked to hike with me, so
Uh-huh.
she was gonna wait, and as soon as I said I was ready, she was ready.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you kind of let everybody have their own hiking style. That's really fun.
Yes, we did. We did try to be flexible about that to try to keep everybody just engaged and not miserable. We could not hike together as a group of 9 for more than like a mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
Does that mean
it
you
just,
had different, did each group have navigation or did you just trust to the trail marking?
we just trusted the trail marking. I don't think nobody ever really notably got off trail. Natalie in the lead did blow past a couple of our meetup spots a few times. And most of the time that was not that big of a deal because we figured we'll catch her eventually. One time we were actually going off into town to resupply and she had passed.
Oh boy. How did she
But-
how was she recovered for that one?
Well, we all went ahead and went into the town. It was like walking distance to the town. It was maybe a mile. And we went to lunch at a place there and she had kept walking probably 2 or 3 miles past the road and had come across a person who had kind of ongoing trail magic set up, like a refrigerator in their garage where hikers could just get a drink. She stopped there and talked to the person who was running it and said, "Do you know where Unionville is? Unionville, New York." And he said, "Yes, it's about 3 miles back the other way." And she said, "I think I was supposed to meet my family there," and he gave her a ride, so he drove her back to Unionville.
That's incredible. Did you encounter lots of trail magic?
We did. It was kind of hit and miss. Like some stretches, Georgia had a ton. We had a lot in Pennsylvania, actually. And then just kind of randomly other places. Sometimes it would be there. And sometimes it was specifically people coming out to see us. Most of the time it was just happened to cross it.
Your 7 kids is a lot. So
Yes.
I assume that when you would encounter people, they would often have heard of your coming.
Yes, definitely often they had. Yep. Or if they hadn't, they were extremely surprised and confused.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing out here?
Yeah. Yeah. Were there other families on trail this year?
There was definitely one other family that we knew of that we did not cross paths with on trail. The Mertens family started in February and finished in July. So we didn't ever cross with them, but they were out there. We'd met them the year before.
Okay.
We also saw another family that had 7 kids. 5 were hiking with them. Their youngest was 17.
Uh-huh.
So it was basically a group of
Older.
adults,
Yes.
but
Okay.
it was people
that's
with their
neat.
kids.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Our year, there was a family, the Trouts, and we were chasing them for about 100 miles. And then we almost got caught up to them. And then there was a 20-mile trail closure, and they took a ride around it, and we road walked. So we fell behind again and then had to catch up again. But then the strange thing was there was another family named the Perch family. So I had like the Trouts and the Perches that we were chasing season. But it was really fun that you just kind of knew who the family were that were out there during.
We ran into somebody. We would hear rumors of other families, like, "Oh, there's this other family behind you," and they never materialized. We did talk to one person who said that there were 2 families with 7 younger kids out, and one of them was the Tolberts and the other one was the Fellowship.
You guys took on 2 identities. That's great. So which one do you like better, the Tolberts or the Fellowship?
We tried to convince him that we were both of those families, and he just didn't seem like he really, really believed it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, well, what a neat experience. So when did it start to what was the Was there a moment for everybody where they just sort of thought, "Oh my goodness," or was it not till the top, standing on Katahdin and going, "I can't believe we did this thing."
There was when we were getting ready, we were in Baxter State Park, and I don't remember if it was the day before or the day of, but one of the kids said, I think it was Cassie, said, "Everybody keeps telling us how cool this is." And I think they're actually right. I think this is really
Oh,
cool.
that's neat. Yeah, that's
And
neat.
that was fun. We also had a moment, we had friends visit us in Vermont, and they were leaving, and my husband said, "Do you guys wanna just go home, like, jump in their car and head back?" And everybody said, "No, we've gotta make it all the way to
Oh,
the end."
that's great.
Even the ones who had been the least excited about it, that just was like, we're all in. Even with our friends here and, like, home sort of feeling a little bit
Mhm.
tangible,
Mhm.
everybody wanted to stick with it, so that was cool.
You ever pull out a map of the US and look at that Appalachian Trail and think, "Oh my goodness, now I know what it's like to actually walk from there to there."
Yes. I used to look up when I would look up weather
Yeah.
and just my weather app on my phone, at Amicalola marked, and then I could see where we were, and I just remember looking at that at one point, I think it was Pennsylvania, and just thinking, "That is a long way."
It really is. Yeah.
Yes,
It's
it's
really
really
spectacular.
far.
And you can look at each of your kids and think they did that. Like those legs,
Right.
those carried
Yes.
them all the way.
That got me up several mountains, actually, just thinking, "My 7-year-old has already gone up this.
Yeah.
I gotta keep
Yeah.
going."
Yeah. How did missing the first miles impact your oldest? Does she have like "I've got to do this" at some point, or is it just kind of like, "Ah, no big deal"?
She did fine. I would say it wasn't a big issue, partly because we never I know a lot of hikers, like, they start slowly, but then they hit a point where they can really start going a long way, like 15, 20 plus in a day, and we never got to that point.
Mhm.
Probably partly because and we could do that, but we weren't consistently hiking that long ever.
Mhm.
And partly because we had a 7-year-old. She joined with us, and probably the hardest part initially was that she was slower just getting ready in the mornings, getting ready to go, getting out, and we had kinda gotten a little bit faster at that.
Yeah.
And then she had a lot of swelling in her knee for that first month, and I do remember having a point where I was thinking, "Should we send her home? I don't
Uh-huh.
know, like,
Uh-huh.
this doesn't get better and start
Yeah.
swelling less."
Yeah.
And maybe this is not a good idea, but it got better pretty quickly after that.
That's
You
great.
can just
That's great.
So yeah, then she was great, and it was pretty cool to see, okay, she's going from having a swollen knee all the time
Mhm.
and falling a lot just because her muscles were
Yeah.
uneven and steady and
Yeah.
just having swelling only every few days and then eventually not at all. So that
Yeah.
was great.
That's neat. Yeah, kind of just right in time for you to
Yes.
keep that decision going.
Yes.
You have a ton of your kids around. Do any of them want to give me a high low of the trail?
Anybody wanna say? Do you wanna say something you liked from the trail, Jackson?
Mount Washington.
Mount
Mount
Washington?
Washington.
Was it clear or was it cold and windy? It was? Cool. Did you have a least favorite part? No? Just all awesome.
No.
You liked waking up early in the morning?
No.
Okay.
He found a screen to use somehow.
Oh, fantastic. Good work. Anybody else got a high low? Yeah,
Blade, Connecticut.
Connecticut. There's kind of
Just
a
the whole
blip on the map. What did you not
thing.
like about Connecticut?
It was hot. There were bugs. It was boring.
Okay. All right.
Place we stayed was
place we stayed was nice. Super expensive.
Yeah, there you go. So that was your low. Was Connecticut,
Yeah.
but for different reasons.
Yes. I mean, every reason. Connecticut was bad.
Oh, that's great. Anybody else?
Cassie, do you want to say any highs or lows?
low was Connecticut, New York.
Okay. The whites was pretty. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. It's fun. Fun to get to spend some time with the Tolbert. Great. Well, congratulations on your trail. What an
Thank
exciting
you.
endeavor and adventure, and I hope it lived up to everything you dreamed.
Yeah, it was everything that we hoped that it would be, just everything that we hoped that it even could be. It was amazing.
That's great.
Wish we I wish we could do another one, but we started a little too late. We're kind of out of time.
Oh, that's great. I was waiting to hear background noises when you said, I wish we could do another one. Some deep sigh.
Definitely, Cassie said something. I
Also,
couldn't.
Okay.
Oh,
you know,
no, maybe not. And no from Nora.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No, happy to do it.
All right.